Solar mistake. Hi, this is Jim from RV4x40.com. Welcome to the channel today. We're going to talk briefly about the initial solar system install we did some years back on a Monaco, at that time the Monaco Night that we had for a motorhome. And I made one good-sized mistake in that, and we'll go through that in some level of detail with the block diagram. After that, we fixed the mistake and did a couple of upgrades on that RV. And we actually traded RVs, and so there's a new solar install, learning from the things on the first couple of attempts, and we'll show you how that all ended up. This was the first system that we did. We had 660 watt panels, or 960 watts of solar on the roof. That was configured as 3 panels in series, and then those were connected up. Those 2 series groups are connected in parallel in a combiner on the roof, and a pair of wires run down to a tracer 40 amp maximum power point controller. The existing batteries were 4 210 amp hour GC2 batteries, Duracell batteries, and that gave us 210 amp hours usable if we limited ourselves to a 50% depth of discharge at the 12 volts. And the problem was, while the 40 amps would have charged the batteries properly, it actually limited the amount of power, because that would be at 12 volts, that would be about 500 watts or so of output power, and I had 960 watts coming in, so that was clearly an undersized controller. In retrospect, I'm not totally sure why I did that, but it seemed like a good idea at the time. Cost, size constraints, those kind of things were factored into it. But it didn't take very long to realize we were not going to be able to recharge the batteries with our other usage during the day. Even though we had solar capacity, we did not have charging capacity. So that took us to phase 2. And phase 2 was the same system. It simply replaced the solar controller with a much higher current controller, so we now had 96 hours. So now we had roughly 1,200 watts of charging capability, which exceeds the 960 watts. So lesson number 1 is you really want to make the solar panels, if that makes sense anyway in your installation, but typically you want the solar panels to be the limiting factor in how much power you can generate, and everything down below that should be sized accordingly so that it can utilize all of the power that comes out of those solar panels. We had that system for quite a while, probably over a year. It worked quite well as long as we managed the batteries. Sometimes the 50% depth of discharge was a problem, so that led us really to an upgrade, not so much a mistake at this point, but simply an upgraded technology, which is phase 3. So phase 3 is a battery technology upgrade. We selected Battle-Born batteries to go with this. We felt that was the best choice for the value of the money. And so we got 4 of their batteries. They have a form factor which is essentially a drop-in to the same footprint as the GC2 batteries. That is what we went with. So we now had 400 amp hours of fully usable power, because the Battle-Borns are rated for 100% depth of discharge. The rest of the system was the same, but we now had a lot more time that we could run before we needed to get solar. We run more heavy usage, and if we didn't have a full day, we could save power from one day into the next if the solar system wasn't providing full power. The last system is the one we currently have, and it has a number of features that are similar but still a little bit different. The current technology was 210 watt panels in the same size as our previous 160 watt panels, so that made life easier. The roof of the RV also led itself to a different layout. We could easily get 8 panels up there. If I wanted to really push it, I could have put 10 panels, but I wanted to leave a little bit of room for the inevitable air conditioning service it is going to take, if nothing else, just to clean the air conditioner. So since the earlier system had worked quite well for us, I felt the upgrade was going to be enough with the 1,680 watts we got out of it. The other change was we had those wired again in series, 4 of them at a time. It gives roughly 100 volts in the output. But instead of combining those into a parallel arrangement on the roof, I actually ran 4 wires down instead of 2 and used 2 Victron maximum power point controllers. These are rated at 150 volts and 60 amps. So pretty well matches the capacity of the solar panels. Gives me a little bit of excess, and theoretically I can get, I think it's 53 amps at maximum power. allowing for all the losses in the controllers and the wiring and everything else. So it gives me a little bit of extra capacity. And we also upgraded from the 4 Battleborn batteries to 6. So we now have 600 amp hours of usable power at, well, we're actually closer to 13 volts with the lithium batteries. So we've greatly improved the ability to charge the batteries. We've also greatly increased the capacity to run. So this is the current system we have, and we're quite happy with it. It works quite well. We've only had it installed for a couple of months now, so I haven't had a chance to see what we can get in full sun in the summertime. But we have been able to achieve about 65% of the usable capacity on a sunny day, roughly in the middle of winter, December 23rd or something like that. So near the winter solstice, so the very low sun angle, and still get very, very respectable power out of this system. So that's it. That's the one that we did. Thanks for joining us today. We hope you maybe picked up some useful information in what we went through. That's our goal, try to provide you with some tips and techniques and show you some of the travel places we've been and give you some general information about full-time RVing in a motorhome. Hope you had a great day, and we're recovering from the Texas snow apocalypse that we had. Very unusual weather in the state of Texas for February, so this is being filmed right at the end of that. Hope you had a great day, and we'll see you next week.